On this episode of the Procedurally Generated Show, Tony curses at the moon again, and Ethan humbly catches monsters. Well, howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Procedurally Generated Show. I'm your host, Tony, and joining me this week, I've got Ethan.
What up?
Oh, not too much. We just got done playing some Gears of War.
We are probably really close to the end of that game.
I think we have to be, right? I don't know how many acts there are. We just started Act 4.
Yeah, we probably should have looked that up at some point.
Probably would have been a good idea, actually, at some point. It's been a long time, though, that game has taken us. Since it's only 2 players, we have to, take those opportunities when there's just the 2 of us on the show. By the way, Cole's not here this week. He is out taking care of family. So,
Which is why it was 2-player mode night, so we did that.
Yep.
There's 5 acts.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're getting probably 2 or 3 hours from the end of the game.
Give or take, yeah.
So
had some downtimes in there, so yeah.
I kept dying because things were not as dark as they were telling me it was. I don't care what they say. That I was not in the darkness half the times I died.
It was the darkness of the moonlight.
So
the Creel can still live there.
It's like Lord of the Rings and the orcs. They can only travel at night.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
or if you're in a dark tunnel.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Which that's the second time that fact has come up this week for me.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
It's weird that it happened twice.
Yeah, I think you just now, and then I think earlier was watching Barbarous King streaming, and I think he was talking about it or something. I forget where. I think it was him, though. That seems like a thing he would talk about, because he likes to talk about those sort of things.
Yeah.
Or it might have been last week. I don't know.
Well, we could talk about Rings of Power all night if you wanted.
I mean, I haven't brushed up on Green Lantern, so...
Not those Rings of Power. Different Rings of Power.
Oh, you mean Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yes, Sonic the Hedgehog and the Rings of Power.
So Blue Lanterns, there we go.
Exactly. So, well, what have you?
I forget what their rings do, but I think there is a Blue Lantern.
Oh, I have no clue.
There's different colors.
There's like a yellow one. I think there's a red one, a green one, a blue one. Orange. I don't know.
It's like if you get all the rings and wear them, you
become Captain Planet.
There's like a comic about it, but one of the rings turned out to be fake. Spoiler.
Well, see, now I've had the story spoiled for me. I've never read or seen anything about Green Lantern, so I don't actually know.
It makes you want to see what would happen with all the rings on one person, though.
Well, I mean, sure. Thanos, had all the rings. Well, no.
He had all the stones. So. Stones and rings are different things.
That's true. Stones can go in rings, though. So maybe that's what he stole all the rings and just took the stones out of them.
Well, he had a gauntlet. He didn't have a ring.
That's what I'm saying. He took all the rings from the different lantern cores and just stole the stones out of them and put them in his gauntlet. I don't know. I don't read comic books, so
you should. They're good. They're educational.
Well, that's not entirely. I've read Dresden comic books, so
Dresden.
Harry Dresden, the only wizard in the Chicago phone book.
Never heard of it.
You should read the Dresden Files. They're good books. Fantastic
Sounds
books.
interesting.
Highly recommend them. He is a wizard in the modern world and fights. There's a skeletal T-Rex at some point. He becomes, you know, a fairy knight, basically. It gets weird.
Would it be like watching modern day Harry Potter, but it's like what you do after graduation?
If Harry Potter was, uh, a private investigator as an adult, sure.
Well, I mean, we don't know what he did after graduation.
Well, sure we do. He became an Auror.
What's that? You mean they use him to row boats?
No, not an Auror, an Auror. We're not going to get into all that. What have you been playing this week?
Well, I guess we got to go on track now. Shame, really.
Sorry.
So, I enjoy some Pokemon here and there, right?
Yeah, who doesn't?
Not many people.
I mean, there's probably
Jason
some people that don't.
Jason, for one, doesn't.
Oh, man.
Take that, Jason. No, you're not listening, so I get away with this. But what happens to those who try to... Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Who try to make their own Pokemon and actually get it out to the public?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
So, me either. But I mean, we're definitely in the midst. I take that back. We're not in that at all.
Oh, okay.
Because I just remember there was a Jade Cocoon that came out on PS1 way back, like when I was in high school. And
is that a Pokemon clone?
Kind of, pretty much. It's somewhere in the vein of catch monsters and use them to fight. I think you can only have a few at a time, and you can like combine them or something. It's kind of like Digimon or Monster Rancher, and those are kind of Pokemon clones too.
That's true.
The one I'm talking about though is, I think it's pronounced Temtem.
I think it's pronounced Temtem. Temtem, maybe.
Temem.
All one word.
This is from Humble Games, which you may know them as Humble Bundle.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their attempt at what a Pokemon game should be.
Who is?
Or
I'm
what
gonna look up and see who the developer of the game is.
Oh gosh, I've already forgotten. It's like there's like a monkey or something in the logo.
Crema is the name of the developer.
There we go. The Crema of the Kremlin. Got it. Wait, what's a Kremlin? That's German or something. Right?
That's Russian. The Kremlin is
Russian.
Is a building in Russia.
Cool. You're getting educational facts here on the PG show. Anyway, so this is their attempt at making a Pokemon game, and it is all online. And I am reviewing the Switch version of the game.
So is this sort of like an MMO type thing? Are you seeing other players all the time while you're playing?
All the time.
Okay.
There's a chat window. I have it set to like local or something, and there's like the global, and then there's the trade windows.
Mm-hmm.
And people are having conversations. There's things I should have reported people for, but I was like, I don't care. I'm going to go back to this private window and not read anything ever again. This game, okay, let's just start at the beginning. You start by making your character.
Okay.
And their choices and the type of characters you're stuck making, they look... It's like an attempt at trying to look like you're making an anime, but at the same time not.
Not a fan of these character designs that I'm seeing.
No. They are... They're not horrible. They're just kind of like, I don't know, early teen childish like look almost, I guess. You get what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's simplistic. There's the word I'm looking for. They're a little too simplistic for what they need to be, and then they're trying to make them stylish at the same time. It's not working. They look horrible. So you do that, and then you have to make a name. This is an online game, so your name could easily be taken.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 10 minutes just trying to name my character.
That's crazy.
It's like, all right, I just want to name my character. I don't care that someone else is taking the name. I don't want to play with other people. I want to go on an adventure, catch the monsters, fight other people, clock out for the day, and call it good.
Okay.
And they threw video game in the way.
Oh no.
So it follows the Pokemon formula like too closely, like more than Pokemon follows. You're in your house. Your mom's like, "Hey, get up! Here's your Pokedex." I think they called it Timpedia or something.
Yeah.
So your mom's the one that gives you that. It's really weird, and it's like she's scary looking, in my opinion. And then you go outside, and there's a whole crowd of people waiting for you. And then your rival, I thought I wanted to punch Gary Oak in the face so many times. No, he's a saint compared to this guy. This guy, there's not enough punches in the world.
Wow.
He's like taunting you, sticking his tongue out, has this weird like half eye thing going on. I don't know, but there's sound clips for every time someone makes a word.
Okay. So
And
it's like
just,
Simlish type stuff?
no. Sound clips. So your text box appears and like me and you are talking. Your text box appears for me to know that you're about to say something. And for me to know that it's you saying it, I would hear, "Howdy," from you.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
So that would get annoying really quickly.
They're not actually saying words. They're making noises like ha 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 ha, that sort of thing.
Yeah. One of the things I had seen someone talking about this, they liked the characters in this because more than like a Pokemon game because they're sassy and sarcastic and sort of, I think angsty was one of the words that
they come off too strong from the get go. It's like build your way up to that. You got to be in, build a friendship with me before you start doing that stuff. It's like you're coming off as a complete jerk instead of coming off like, oh, that's my friend. Oh, you slide dog, you.
Yeah.
Use Fraba. There we go.
I will admit, watching the footage of this game, I do not like the character design in any way.
No,
they're ugly. They're just plain and simple. But some of these monster designs are actually pretty good.
Yes, the monsters they're really. Oh my goodness!
Like there's a platypus I saw just a second ago that I would love to have in a Pokemon game.
One of the early ones is a little bird with like a leaf thing on his face. He's adorable. He's like a little ball of fluff. And his eyes are like big and soulful. It's like, you're adorable. I gotta capture you.
Yeah, clearly they put a lot of work into the monster design because I guess that is one of the most important aspects of a game like this is that the monsters have to be memorable and likable and that you don't have to care about the people as much as you do the monsters.
Which is quite unfortunate because there's a lot of people. A lot of people. I have no idea. Like the quest guidance on there is pretty bad. And it's like a large world, so it's like, okay, well now I need to go back and heal and this and that, back and forth. And then you kind of figure out, oh, I can need to go on this path here because I don't have a way to get across this lake now. Mm-hmm. And it's just the guidance needs to be better on there. Okay. I don't want them holding my hand, but I need some level of
you need to know what to do, kind of where to go.
It's like I can bring up the map, go to the exclamation marks, and then those turn into question marks, and it's like one of them I have right now. I don't know how to do it at all. It's telling me I need to find like Jill and Bill. I actually don't know what the names are, and get them to the school. And it's like, okay, I don't know who these people are or where to find them. Talk to everyone in town. not there. So it's like, all right, well that's great. Now what? So exploring out of town, trying to find these people now. And apparently, instead of gyms, you have dojos.
Okay.
And just like Pokemon games, like occasionally you'll get to a dojo, and I'm at the first one, and it's like, oh, the dojo leader's not here. They ran off. Go find them.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like I just struggled climbing an entire mountain from the first town to get here for you to tell me that.
Yeah.
All right, on to my next sub adventure, finding this idiot. It's just more and more and more. Uh, the battles very Pokemon like. I enjoy that. They do something a little different in there, which I love. Instead of having a set number of times you can do the moves on there, like I think they call it PP on there,
Yeah, on the Pokemon
power
games.
points or something.
Yeah.
So like, oh, I could do tackle 35 times or something like that. Instead, you have your 4 moves, and you have a stamina bar, and it's like your bar has a set number, and then each move has a set number it would take away from that. So the better the move, the more stamina usually, and you can easily get to where you're not going to have enough to do another move for a little bit, and you'll have to take a rest. Um, so, like, if the move's going to take up all the stamina, however many points it goes over, it's going to subtract that from your HP because you exerted yourself.
Okay. So
And
you've
then for
got
the
this
next,
sort of risk thing. Like you can do this really powerful move, but it's probably going to do, you're not going to like it, essentially.
yeah, it's like, okay, well, I'm about to kill this monster or trainer or whatever, and I don't want to have to switch monsters, or I'm just going to eat the damage, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is.
Okay.
And then, like, say maybe if I took a rest, I'd gain enough points to do another move anyway. So then you can just hit the rest button instead. But if you exert yourself, then you're forced to rest the next move anyway. So the risk reward is definitely there.
Yeah. One thing I can see about this game was that if it ever got as popular as a Pokemon, the what it looks like your trainer carries cards around that have your monster on it.
Yes,
Those
yes.
things look like they would be insanely collectible.
Yeah, yeah.
Because those cards look really cool. The designs on those cards that you're carrying around that have your monsters on them, with like
Yeah, they're
the
like
see-through.
collapsible, see-through holographics. They're pretty awesome. And the capture mechanic is you just toss the card like a throwing star or something, and then it starts like circling around the monster, digitizing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had one fail yet on the capture, but I'm sure it'll come up at some point. Uh, it's kind of neat watching the capture mechanic on there. And all your fights are you use 2 of your monsters, your Tim Tims, whatever.
So it's
Tims.
always 2v2.
No, just you always have 2 to use at the same time. So it's like, all right, I'm fighting one monster. That trainer should have thrown out 2, but I have 2, so here we go. The starting on there when you get to pick your Pokemon, you're not Pokemon. Sorry,
You're 10.
it was bound to happen. It was about to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get your usual 3. The professor's like, "Hey, pick one." Your rival's over there complaining, and it's like, dude, you have the super rare one that's like super powerful already, and you're complaining about me getting to pick one. Another reason I hate the rival. He just complains the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like, seriously, you have the powerful, awesome mod. And then you pick your monster, and then the very first fight, he's like, "Oh, that's your element or something." I guess he doesn't really say it, but he switches over to an element that you're weak to and just one shots you.
Wow.
And so the professor's like, "Well, you lost your first battle. Here, let's heal you up. Here, have this Pokemon. Have this Tim as well." And then the guy's complaining because you got another one. It's like, dude, seriously, this one's a dime a dozen. Get over it.
Yeah. You'll find one of these 5 minutes after you leave this place.
I haven't had a refight with him yet.
Uh,
I'm gonna stomp him if I have the chance. I don't know if these guys can evolve at all or anything like that.
I mean,
Simply
it
because
looks
I've
like
already
they
got my
can.
starter. I've gotten my starter up to level 20. He hasn't changed,
Okay.
so I don't know if there's like something that goes into it or anything. But I hope so, because I'm getting jealous seeing all these other people running around and they have like really cool looking monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that they do on here that Pokemon doesn't is you have a full party heal that you get to use once until you hit a recovery place or someone gives you a full recovery.
Yeah.
And if you look at the like you would go to Nurse Joy on Pokemon to heal up your Pokemon, and
Mm-hmm.
you see her put up the balls into the thingy, and then it shows up on the screen, and dun 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 dun,
Yeah.
and they're healed. This one, you go up to a device, you slot your cards in. It's automated, but it looks cool because you see them go one at a time. And then the side pops open, and that's where you see this little vial of juice fill up as well. That's that full recovery I figured out after a while.
Okay.
And then you see the cards like recharge on the screen. So it's really neat. And yes, there is a storage thing, and you're limited to the number that you can keep in there. And apparently, you can talk to people at some point, and they'll give you like so many extra slots. So the first guy you talk to, he's like, "Here, have 60 slots." I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks, bro." The stores in there, they charge outrageous prices for your items that you need for everyday use.
Everyday items should be cheap.
Like your healing items are expensive. Your Tim cards, cheap as dirt.
Really.
Yep. Cheapest thing ever. I'm like carrying 50 of those right now and probably one healing item.
The
Because it's
idea
that
of
expensive.
the idea of carrying around like a deck of cards in your pocket makes way more sense than like carrying around a bag full of Pokeballs.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Did it right the first time, man.
So, like,
Leave that hard to the cards.
you could carry way more cards as a trainer than you could Pokeballs.
Yep. Yep.
So that is, I really like that aspect of the game. From the talks that we've had about the game, it sounds like the actual Pokemon style fighting is the best part of the game, and just everything else around the game sort of detracts from that
Mm-hmm.
whole experience.
Yes, very much so. And like I said, like the first thing you do is it's your mom talking to you. Once you get movement on there, it's full speed or no speed. So it's
Okay.
like the second you tilt that control stick,
Mm-hmm.
be prepared to run into a wall. Because I mean, like it, it's not impossible to steer them or anything, but it gets annoying real quick for how quick they or right away. It's already annoying just for how quick they are. And it's like we've had Pokemon games already to study and not mess this up.
Yeah.
And here it is, messed up right away.
Can the other people in the game just walk up to you and challenge you to fights?
I think they can ask me if I want to, or I have to sit in like a ready mode for it or something.
Okay.
I haven't really messed with that because I don't want to get stomped by the people I
Yeah.
see around
I was
me.
just curious to see if you're seeing all those other players around. I was curious to know exactly how that might work, because I would think it would be really annoying to be trying to wander around. You just want to play the game, and every few steps, someone's walking up to you, hey, saying, "Hey, let's fight! Hey, let's fight! Hey, let's fight!"
Yeah, and the interactions you actually have with the NPCs are kind of like that.
Are they?
Like just in Pokemon, you'd have your regular. You walk around. Someone sees you like, hey, I like shorts. Do you like shorts? Pokemon fight.
Yeah.
And this one, they will have a full conversation with you. And I want to say, in some cases, you can talk your way out of a fight,
Interesting.
which is interesting. But most, just like Pokemon, a lot of them don't have anything interesting to say.
Mm-hmm.
You can just hold a button and skip the conversation and go right to the fight.
Nice.
So that's got that going for it, I guess. But you can also use that to skip entire conversations elsewhere too that are actually important.
Yeah.
And then you find yourself climbing a mountain trying to figure out where the dojo is.
Okay.
I am playing the Switch version.
Mm-hmm.
There is a button, I think it's the Y button that you push, or maybe I don't know, whatever the top one is, maybe X button, and it brings up a menu and it'll show you like everyone that's online, and apparent, I think it shows you like six to eight people at a time or something. And I happened to press it randomly at one point, and it's like everyone has. It's like Destiny. You have your emblems on there for the border of your name or something.
Yeah.
Everyone on there is just gray, and I hadn't noticed anything, and so I was like, okay, all right. I did it randomly, and there's this guy. He's got blue and stars and all this cool stuff on there,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently he's been like he was like a tester or something for the game. So like I ran into someone who's been around that game for a while.
Yeah. I think the game's been in early access for a couple years at this point.
Yeah, it seemed like I'd heard about it years ago. Maybe it needs to go back because it did crash on me like a couple of times. I
Yeah.
had a soft lock and then a hard crash.
Oh man.
Soft lock was easy. The hard crash also easy to fix. Um, if you've ever played Dark Souls, if you ever get like disconnected from the server or your game crashes and you get back in there, puts you like pretty close back to right where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
This one puts you exactly back to where you were at.
Well, that's good.
The hard crash, I was in the middle of a battle. Like the battle was starting.
Mm-hmm.
So it just threw me right at the start of the battle when I got back in. No talking, no nothing, just battle.
I mean that's actually really good. I guess it's probably uh, because you're on a server and so it holds your status for at least a little while if you crash, just for that purpose, so that you can get back
Yeah,
into the
but
game and just keep going.
but what worries me is if the servers are ever down, you can't. I don't think you can physically play this game because there was like an item they gave or items they gave people because the servers were down, which happened to be down the day I got the review copy.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, great. So I didn't get that item at all because I hadn't played before.
Mm-hmm.
So yay on that. But if those servers are down, much like Destiny 2, how that's all on server side, it goes away. And much like any online game with various mechanics, there is in-game currency that you can buy.
Okay. What do you use it for? Is it all just cosmetic stuff?
It looks like it's cosmetics on there. I from what I found was cosmetics, and I found another currency in the game that's used in the same store that's not part of the money you get from beating people.
Okay.
So the game has three different currencies that I know of so far. The game currency, the paid for currency, and then this other unknown currency.
You'll probably figure out what that is at the end of the game.
So you have to buy so much of this currency and then convert it over to this other currency.
I mean, some games have done that. I would really hope that's not what they're doing, but
I don't know. I'm not far enough to find out yet.
okay.
But aside from the world, the people, and stuff, it's a solid Pokemon clone.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna work on my review a little bit more and maybe have worse or nicer things to say. We'll find out next week. But every time I've told you about it, I've not been very happy.
Yeah.
But tell me what you've played, Tony.
Uh, I have really basically only played one thing, and that's just been Curse of the Moon 2 with Jake. I think last week I talked about it. We had finished chapter 1 and we were getting into chapter 2. We finished that. That was a section where you lose access to one of the main characters. Game gets a little harder. It's a new game plus type thing. We finished chapter 2 and have started chapter 3. I think there are 4 chapters total in the game. Technically, you beat the game after you finish the first chapter. You see credits, and you could say stop right there. But you don't get the full story, and you don't get the proper ending until you've finished at least chapter 3 and possibly chapter 4. But in the beginning of chapter 3, you lose access to the entire group of characters with one exception that you've been playing through the whole game. And the cast from Curse of the Moon 1 comes back and you have access to them and you play through the game again with that group of characters, and it completely changes the way you play the game because those characters all have very different abilities and skills from the cast of Curse of the Moon 2. So it's been a much harder experience playing through chapter 3 with the new character, or the old characters, I guess.
There you go.
Compared to the characters we were used to with the story the first 2 times through. I'm hoping once we get done with this, we're about halfway through it at this point. The first boss in chapter 3, which we had no problem with before, the first boss was the hardest one to get past with the new characters. We had to do it almost half a dozen times before we finally beat the boss. None of the other bosses have given us any trouble. We've been able to beat them after the first or second try. So you start to get used to those characters. We're actually learning some new techniques and new things to do this time around that maybe would have made the first 2 playthroughs of the story a little easier to get through. But absolutely loving it so far. I'm hoping that once we beat chapter 3, if there is a 4th chapter, it's just okay, you've played through this game 3 times with all of these characters. Here's the entire roster, and you are just at your absolute most powerful. Go and have fun. And you just become overpowered. The game is basically a cakewalk the 4th time through. That's kind of what I'm hoping. I don't know if that's actually what will be the case or not, but man, Curse of the Moon 2, if you have been wanting more Castlevania, or the first Curse of the Moon 2, the Bloodstained games are a great sort of spiritual successor to Castlevania, and if you want more Castlevania, I cannot recommend these games enough. Inti Creates is one of the developers behind them, and they've done fantastic 2D work with not Mega Man and not Castlevania, and reviving these franchises that have basically been left for dead by their original, publishers. So, really, really, really enjoying this game. But that's...
Man, can't wait for that Mighty Number 9 too, right?
Well, that'll probably never happen. I do hope we get another Mighty Gunvolt game, which are different than the other Gunvolt games. I mean, they're all the same.
Yeah, I think we just got the 3rd
universe.
one in the
Gunvolt 3.
series.
Azure Striker Gunvolt 3 just came out. I need to pick that up. I haven't played that one yet. But the Mighty Gunvolt games are such good Mega Man style games. And Azure Striker is that similar type of thing where you play through it and you get additional powers as you play through the game and beat bosses. But it's much more fast-paced action than even the Mega Man games have been. So, but that's what I've been playing, is just Curse of the Moon all week. I have grabbed Splatoon. I have not had a chance to play it yet. So maybe I'll play a little bit of that this week and talk about that next week. But that's been it for me. So, what do you say we take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the news? So, up first in the news this week, there's actually been quite a bit of stuff announced this week. Disney and Ubisoft both had big announcements this week.
Yeah, it's almost like Christmas in September.
It's like E3 after E3 and before the Winter Keeleys. So, but yeah, it's been crazy.
Before your Game of the Year awards, yeah.
Exactly. So the first thing that we want to talk about is just a new Switch exclusive game coming from Disney, and
Ooh.
it is a 4-player co-op platformer starring Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy.
Okay.
The game is called Illusion Island, so I'm hoping there's a lot of references and allusions to Castle of Illusion.
Right.
So it seems like that's been a fairly common name or idea with the Mickey Mouse platformers, and keeping to that Castle of Illusion style of gameplay. This looks like it actually has a little bit of maybe some Rayman ideas with the way the characters are moving around the levels and things. It looks really good.
I mean, like music-based levels, heck yeah.
I mean, I would love
I wish
Disney-based music levels. I hate the art style for this game. They're using that sort of fake classic look that they use for the Mickey Mouse shorts right now. That they want it to look kind of old, but it looks just sort of like Ren and Stimpy versions of these old designs for these characters, and I think it is ugly. Like
yeah, I just brought up your stream. If anyone heard any audio overlapping, that's what that was. It's just me trying to get Tony's stream up to see this.
So I will play this, and I will probably, if the gameplay is really good, I will enjoy it, but visually I do not like this style for these characters.
Isn't this the style of like the more recent cartoons they've had?
Yeah, this is the visual style they use for the current Mickey Mouse cartoons.
It's like such a step back.
Yeah, like when I first saw them talking about this, I thought they were going to go back, like just bring back that 1930s, rubber hose style of animation, and it's this weird modern take on that, and I just don't like it. They did it with Chip and Dale as well, and it's just, I don't like the way these characters look. But if the gameplay's fun, especially a 4-player co-op platformer starring these characters, I think could be really good.
Yeah.
But we will see. It's not supposed to be out until next year, I think, and it's being developed by a group called Dlala Studios.
I have no idea.
I'm trying to...
Never heard of them before.
Let me see. I saw something. I'm trying to remember what their past pedigree is. Because I remember seeing it. I just don't remember. It's not super important, but... Battletoads, that's what it was. Yeah, so it's being developed by the same people that did the recent Battletoads game.
If you go to their page, you can go to the thing that says games, our games, and the only thing in there is Battletoads.
I liked that Battletoads. I thought it was a really good game.
I haven't finished it yet, but one day.
So,
only had online.
To go along with that announcement, they also announced some new Marvel stuff. Do you have any?
Oh gosh, there was 3 or 4 different Marvel things announced, but like the 2 highlights were Midnight Suns,
Yeah, which is what we're
uh,
seeing right now.
an upcoming tactical RPG by Firaxis Games,
Firaxis.
known for like the Civilization series.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a tactical RPG with Marvel characters, not unheard of. Hasn't not like it hasn't been done before, but
I mean, if we're getting
I think this is
like,
the one. This was the one they showed off a while back, wasn't it?
I think this has been talked about before. This is my kind of game. Like if this is Deus Ex or Mario and Rabbids style,
XCOM.
XCOM. That's the other one. I am all for that. The idea of that turn-based tactical RPG with Blade and some of these other characters is just sounds incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting to see. So that's one of them. So that's going to be pretty cool to see. In fact, the footage looks pretty awesome, literally.
Yeah, it really does.
And then there's another one. It is called. Wait, well, uh, I guess we don't know what it's called, but it's from Skydance New Media,
Hmm.
and it's going to be a game starring Black Panther and Captain America.
Okay, yeah, I remember
And
hearing about
it
this. It's
almost, from the trailer that I saw of it, I think they're like opposing forces or something. It's kind of
and
weird,
it's set during World War II, I believe.
which is even weirder because reasons,
I mean,
Marvel
it depends.
reasons.
It depends on which version of Black Panther they're using, because like the
They're
character of
using a specific one that's not what we're used to or something. I think is what they said.
okay,
And then I was like, oh, Captain America, and I keep forgetting, and like, oh, he was still around during World War II.
yes,
So yeah, that one's going to be interesting. I don't know what that style is going to be. And then I think the other thing they shut off might have been like a mobile game or something.
that would not surprise me.
And I mean, those are like a huge turnoff for me. So it was Niantic closing the show with Marvel World of
Oh
Heroes.
yeah, the Pokemon Go thing with
There we go.
Marvel
Yeah,
characters.
yeah. Good old Niantic.
Dude, they're showing more of this Midnight Suns stuff, and this looks so
Oh
good.
yeah, the animated series thing that we're getting with that as well. I think there's gonna be 5 episodes of that, if I recall, and they're prequel shorts. So,
Yeah,
uh, yeah,
yeah, that looks really good. Um, so yeah, not a ton of details about any of that stuff yet. I think the Midnight Suns game is supposed to be out later this year. The other ones maybe next year. Um,
cool.
but Marvel wasn't the only group that had some announcements. Ubisoft also had some things that they wanted to show off. The first one we're going to start with is just the announcement that Trackmania will be coming to consoles early next year.
Okay,
If you don't know Trackmania, it is a free to play racing game. It is a point to point racing game where you play very short little races. Like most of them take 30 seconds to a minute. Uh,
short little races. Have you not seen speed runs of this game,
I mean,
Tony?
yes, I have.
There are some maps where it would take hours.
Well, if you want to, a full run of the track, if you hit it on the first time, can take between 15 seconds to a minute for a lot of them. But there's a lot of user created content in this, and some of the tracks, like you're driving on ice, like you can see now, and things get real slippery. The cars get really hard to control, so you have to redo segments of the race over and over and over again. And that's where you get into a lot of things where it can take you hours to get a proper run through a track. But it's really fun. It's really fast paced. It is free to play on consoles right now. There is I think a $20 version of it that gives you access to some stuff that the free to play version doesn't have. But the game is coming to consoles early 2023, and that'll be PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, Stadia, and Luna. Switch is the only one that was not mentioned as uh, a release console for the game, which kind of stinks. I don't know if it's because the Switch couldn't handle that. I wouldn't think that's the case. I don't know. Um, but yeah, so that'll be out early next year. I don't know if they've said it, if it'll be free to play or if it'll have a a premium fee of any kind. Um, but it is coming early next year. And then they showed off and announced a bunch of Assassin's Creed stuff.
Yeah, they did.
Like, this was the Assassin's Creed show, basically. It's been, what, 2 or 3 years now since we've gotten a new Assassin's Creed game. I think 2 years ago was the last time an Assassin's Creed game was released. And they've been putting a lot of work into Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but they've also been working behind the scenes because we're getting a ton of Assassin's Creed stuff coming over the next year. At least 3 games, possibly more.
Yeah.
The first one kind of leaked early before the show. It is Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is set just before the time frame of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it will take place in India. You are playing as a character named Basim, who is a character in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I think you're playing it looks like maybe you're playing a younger version of him. It is set in India, and they are returning to classic Assassin's Creed gameplay for this. And if you watch the trailer, you can see a lot of those Altair, Ezio, influences in what you're seeing. And that is super exciting to me because I have wanted them to go back to that style of game for a while now. And
the thing that made Assassin's Creed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This trailer for Assassin's Creed Mirage could not have gotten me more excited for this game because it looks really, really good. They also announced something called Assassin's Creed Infinity, which is sort of a portal for the Assassin's Creed series that is going to tie a lot of this upcoming stuff together. And that includes some of the other games that they showed off or, teased. One of them right now is called Assassin's Creed Codename Red. I'm sure that name will change before it comes out.
Yep.
And it is a game set in feudal Japan. So, which initially got me very, very excited, but then they described the game, and they described it very specifically as an open world RPG, which made me a little sad because that means Mirage is going to be the only game we get in that a classic Assassin's Creed style, and this feudal Japan game is going to follow the Origin, Odyssey, Valhalla sort of playbook, which is not a bad thing. It's just that's not Assassin's Creed to me. That classic style is what I want. I will play this because I play Assassin's Creed games. I have wanted to play a game that's set in feudal Japan. It's going to be really hard for them to not be compared to something like Ghost of Tsushima, which was an Assassin's Creed game for all intents and purposes set in feudal Japan.
I've certainly treated it like one.
So, man, I'm just watching this Assassin's Creed Mirage footage. Good grief, there's so much that just evokes everything about those classic games. With, like, whenever you assassinate somebody, the character's pulling a feather out and rubbing their target's blood on it, like Altair did. It looks so good. Man, it looks so good.
We need to find a multiplayer one that's classic style and just play it sometime.
Well, Unity.
Yeah.
Unity has multiplayer, and that game got a lot of updates, and it's really good. Like it is not the broken game that it was when it launched. So
It's always a good description of a game. Not the broken mess it was at
Unity
launch.
was a broken mess when it launched.
Was that the one with like the facial glitches and all
Yes,
that?
where it was just
Yeah.
eyes and teeth
Yeah,
and
that's
things like
great.
that. So
It's like, yeah, it needs to be fixed, but we can enjoy it for the gross mess it is.
another game that they talked about was codenamed Jade, which is a what they are saying is a fully fledged Assassin's Creed game for mobile platforms. So what
Hmm.
exactly that means, I don't really know. Um, the only thing we know about it is that it is set in 215 BC, and that's it. There's an open world. Uh, there's a fully customizable protagonist. It's going to be on mobile platforms. That's really all we know about it right now.
Was that the one where they mentioned like the custom anima stuff as well?
Probably, yes.
So I had it on earlier today and was kind of paying attention. And I heard the words custom and animus in the same sentence.
I mean that those two words together could be very interesting. The one thing I really want with all of these games, whether they're the open world Japanese feudal Japan thing or Assassin's Creed Mirage, I want them to put more of a focus back on the historical aspects of it and just get us back to that story that they were telling with the modern day and the historical stuff, because that just kind of disappeared, and we need some more of that
Yeah,
story.
yeah. And more Desmond. I know he's dead, but
He's
more
dead,
Desmond.
so it would be hard for him
But
to come
they
back.
had other people come back though.
I mean, that's true. That's true. There was one other game that they talked about called Codename Hex, which is being developed by, or the director of Watch Dogs Legions is working on this.
Was that the
And
one with the assassin logo made out of the branches?
probably it's set during the witch trials of the Holy Roman Empire. So,
That might actually be fun. In some ways, yes. I
so
know it's going to be not believable, but yeah.
So we'll see. There was just a ton of Assassin's Creed stuff today. So if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, there's a lot to get excited about over the next couple of years. I think there's one more batch of DLC that is coming for Assassin's Creed Valhalla that sort of wraps up that story. And then after that, it is straight on into the hype for Code, or not Codename Mirage, but Assassin's Creed Mirage. So, and then lastly, the only thing left to talk about is Mario, because they showed off a bunch of Mario and Rabbids Spark of Hope.
Yes.
And just,
Actually showed off gameplay.
yes. And of course, the gameplay looks great. Like, that game is
Yeah.
going to be. I was on Twitter earlier today and I saw Kotaku call this a possible sleeper hit. This game is going to be huge. Like, that first game was incredibly well received, and people have been hyped for this game for 2 years now. This is not going to be a sleeper hit. This is going to be a major release for Ubisoft and Nintendo. But one of the things that they talked about during the event was that the game will be getting post-release DLC, and they teased the introduction of another character into the franchise. So, along with Mario and the Rabbids, there's going to be DLC starring Rayman.
Dun dun
And
dun.
all we got was a little teaser. They were showing off some characters. You could just see like the tops of their heads, like the Mario hat, the rabbit ears, or whatever. And then they
Right.
panned over, and there was a very familiar hairdo. And it panned past it, and then it stopped. The camera stopped, and it went back and focused directly on what was obviously Rayman's hair.
with rabbit ears.
No,
I'm kidding.
no. I mean, there will probably be a Rayman Rabid because all the other characters have Rabid versions, so it makes sense that we would see a Rayman Rabid.
The Bowser Rabbit is like weirdly like punk rock, I guess. Looking at him, he's not. I was like, he's not emo and he's not metal. He's punk rock. It's so weird.
Yeah, but this.
I still haven't played the first game.
You should. That game is so good, man. And it's been on sale, like the deluxe edition with the Donkey Kong DLC, which I have yet to play. I need to grab that. That game has been on sale for like $10 multiple times. It's dirt cheap at this point.
Yep.
It's so good. It is so good. But yeah, that's it. We're getting post-launch DLC, which we knew we were going to get. Obviously, if the first game got it, this one was probably going to get it as well. I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with Rayman and how he's going to be integrated into the story. So, we are just about a little over a month away from the launch of this game. I think October 20th is when it comes out. So,
cool, very cool.
Once that game is out, I will be playing it nonstop and talking about it for quite a while, probably. So, but that's it. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about, we are done with the show for today. So, thank you.
I'm good.
Very much for being here.
No, thank you for being here, Tony.
Thank you. Cole will be back next week. Mario will be here as well. I wish, man, if we could get Mario on the show.
Maybe.
But we are.
Maybe we can get Green.
Hey, that'd be alright.